Have you ever felt like you were facing a problem so big you had no idea where to even start? A need so overwhelming and your resources so small? If so, today's story is for you. It's a powerful account of compassion, trust, and seeing the impossible become possible. It all begins with Jesus. He'd been traveling, and everywhere he went, lives were being transformed. The sick were healed, the lonely felt seen, and the broken found hope again. News about him spread like wildfire. People would whisper, "He really cares," or "There's just something different about him." So, when Jesus decided to cross the Sea of Galilee to find a quiet place, a massive crowd followed him, thousands of men, women, and children. They left their homes, walked for miles, and carried their questions, their pain, and their hopes in their hearts, all just to be near him. When Jesus stepped onto the shore, he didn't see an interruption. He saw a crowd of people who were tired and hungry not just for food, but for words of life and for healing. As the Bible tells us, he had compassion on them. He didn't turn them away. Instead, he welcomed them, healed their sick, and taught them about God's kingdom. As the hours passed and the sun began to set, the disciples started to worry. They looked at the huge crowd, then at the empty fields around them. Philip asked, "How could we ever feed all these people?" Another disciple suggested, "We should send them away so they can go to the villages and buy food for themselves." It seemed like the only logical solution. There were over 5,000 men, not even counting the women and children. There were no shops, no kitchens, nothing. But Jesus said something that must have stunned them. "You give them something to eat?" The disciples just stared. How could they? It was impossible. That's when Andrew spoke up. "There's a young boy here," he said, "who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what is that among so many?" It was a tiny meal, barely enough for one child. But Jesus just smiled gently and said, "Bring them to me." Imagine that little boy. Didn't hide his lunch or complain. He simply stepped forward and offered everything he had. 5 small loaves and 2 fish. It seemed insignificant in the face of such a massive need. But in God's hands, it was about to become something powerful. Jesus instructed everyone to sit down on the green grass, and thousands of people quietly obeyed, waiting to see what would happen next. Then Jesus took the bread and the fish. He looked up to heaven, and he gave thanks. He broke the bread, and then a miracle began. He gave the food to his disciples, and they began to pass it out to the crowd. And the food just didn't run out. Everyone ate. Not just a little bite, but until they were completely full. The sound of children laughing and families sharing a meal filled the air. Hope was tangible. When everyone had finished eating, Jesus told his disciples, "Gather up the leftover pieces, so that nothing is wasted." So they went through the crowd and collected the leftovers. And you know what they found? They filled 12 baskets. They ended up with more food than they had started with. It's more than enough. This incredible miracle wasn't just about food. It showed everyone that Jesus cares about our practical, everyday needs. It proved that even our smallest offerings matter to God. Most importantly, it demonstrated that God can multiply whatever we give him when we act in faith. The people on that hillside realized God is truly with us. The disciples learned a crucial lesson that day, too. They had been completely focused on what they lacked, the money, the food, the resources. But Jesus was focused on what was possible with God. They saw a problem. Jesus saw an opportunity for compassion. They saw scarcity. Jesus revealed an economy of abundance. This story still speaks to us so powerfully today. Sometimes our lives feel just like that hillside. Our needs seem huge, and our resources feel incredibly small. Our faith can feel weak. But in those moments, Jesus is still saying the same thing he said to the disciples. "Bring it to me. Bring your 5 loaves and 2 fish, your small talents, your limited energy, your little bit of hope." And when we trust him with what we have, no matter how small it seems, he does what only he can do. He takes it, he gives thanks for it, and he multiplies it into something more than enough. He multiplies hope. Thanks for watching. If this story encouraged you, please like this video and subscribe for more content that brings ancient wisdom into our modern lives. See you next time.